I'd like to introduce you to some women who are thought of by men. In fact, everyone you'll meet tonight is a woman created by men. They are completely controlled, contrived, corralled, cajoled, and courted by men. This aside, feminist politics aside, the only aside worth mentioning is that they are all depicted so well, I believe they are female. You know, it used to never be questioned that men wrote everything worth publishing. Therefore, we were the keepers of the truth. But I can imagine thousands of women snickering as they read story after stereotype story by men who knew nothing about women's experiences. Oh, fortunately, we won't have to worry much about most of these authors' obscure female characters because they have disappeared, failed to endure literary criticism or popular taste. Oh, unfortunately, some of them have survived only too well, and high school students are dragged kicking and screaming to the cake of Miss Haversham every year. But some men have given us female characters with heart and intelligence, beauty, and cunning. Why, take Rosalind. Why, she speaks, she sweats, she sneaks, she frets, she swoons, she challenges, she cheers, she chooses. Why, she winds up her play the way women operate. Intelligently, emotionally. Shakespeare had a good time writing Rosalind, a manipulator who gets everyone married to the right person in the end as you like it. Men and women alike come under her spell. Why, she blurs sexual images and is taken for a boy for most of the play. And she actually might have been one, since women were forbidden to act at the time. And so, I give you Rosalind, speaker of more lines of any character in any Shakespearean play, even Hamlet. Oh.
I could have been a prima donna, only I married one. Some love so deep down, chin back, not too much, make it double. My lady's bower is too long for an encore about the moated grange of twilight and vaulted rooms. Yes.
And her friend in spirit, Molly.
Peace, I say. Bit even to you, my friend.
Now, some men have given us women, female characters that are pathetic pawns of the male hierarchy. Chaste damsels, self-sacrificing cold fish. Think of it. Penelope wove and unraveled 20 years waiting for Ulysses to return from his exploits. And this, following a 10-year stint massacring Trojans. Why, every day she'd tell her suitors that once she finished her rug, she'd choose a groom and a wedding day. Every night, she'd rip out all the stops. A romantic tale. written by, you guessed it, a guy. Now, James Joyce transformed Penelope into a human being when he turned her into Molly Bloom. And it is Molly who speaks the final stream of consciousness in his otherwise all-male novel Ulysses. In his novel, he wanted to honor his wife Nora and the day they met. And he succeeded where Homer, I'm sorry, but it's true, failed. Molly is the eternal feminine. Since Joyce fought his own 10-year war writing this book, he must have given a lot of consideration to Molly's resounding yes to her husband, which is more passionate, three-dimensional, and earthy than all that crocheting. Those guys waiting outside must have been pretty stupid, or pretty drunk.
What think you of falling in love? I'm married now. Unmuzzle your wisdom.
Yes. When I wear the rose in my hair, like the Andalusian girls used, or shall I wear a red? Yes. And how he kissed me under the Moorish wall, and I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes, yes. And then he asked me, would I yes to say yes, my mountain flower. At first, I put my arms round him and drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts, all perfume, yes. And his heart was going like mad. And yes, I said, yes, I will, yes.
Slow down, girl. This passion is way out of fashion. My uncle taught me how to know one in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not a prisoner. A lean cheek, which you have not. A blue eye and sunken, which you have not. An unquestionable spirit, which you have not. A beard neglected, you have not. Then, let's see. Your hose should be unguarded, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you should be demonstrating a careless desolation. But you, you are no such woman. You are you're rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Point device? Whatever you're talking about. What the hell does that mean?
Well, who were you talking about against the Moorish wall with all your boyfriends and perfume? Boylan, you're a lover, or Bloom, you're a husband?
Sometimes I don't know. Joyce is so confusing. Running all his sentences together and then through my mind. Do you realize he didn't even use apostrophes for contractions? Let alone a goddamn period once in a while. Thinks it was E.E. Cummins or something. Speaking of periods, I want to sit down a minute. If I'm wait, Jesus, that thing has come on. Now, wouldn't it afflict you? Of course, all the piking and rooting and plowing he had up in me now. What am I to do? God knows we got something wrong with us. 5 days, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Joyce indent a paragraph?
Not on your life.
Well, it can't really be any worse than iambic pentameter. Besides, we're dealing with genius here, outside the normal grammatical jurisdiction. Don't you think? Joyce practically invented the portmanteau word. The what? The portmanteau.
Oh, why don't you just bloody well say suitcase?
So soothe me.
I don't know if he thought it was European or it didn't have anything else original up his sleeve. Maybe he knew E.E. Cummings.
Well, maybe it was E.E. Cummings.
Maybe he was Shakespeare.
Ben Jonson.
Metempsychosis.
Gesundheit.
No, I mean you're just like Joyce sometimes, using all those big words and obscure references like some blooming intellectual.
Wait, enough. We were supposed to discuss love. Remember? We agreed in the green room that the topic the audience would be most interested in was our love lives. I think love is safe, and it's less confusing than, say, dissecting God.
God. As for them saying there's no God, I wouldn't give a snap of my 2 fingers for all their learning. Why don't they go and create something? I often ask them, atheists, or whatever they call themselves, and then they go howling for the priest and they dying. And why? Why do you suppose they do that? You don't think it has anything to do with existentialism or anything, do you?
Huh. Somehow, it's existentialism, each and every time.
Oh, dear. They're afraid of hell on account of their bad conscience. I know them well. Who was the first person in the universe who created it all before there was anyone who, that they don't know, neither do I.
Now you're just male bashing. Don't you know that kind of feminism went out in the 60s, and it gave us a really bad name, too. Why, it's taken decades to get to the point where we're equally paid.
Say that in iambic pentameter 3 times
Well,
fast.
I will. You bash the boys because you hate their ways. You bash the boys because you hate their ways. You bash the boys because you hate their ways. But a woman in these times must wish them luck. This culture makes them macho, overpaid. No wonder then that they can rightly
Get laid.
Oh,
This is a family show.
well. Speaking of poetry, old girl, listen to this. I found it on a palm tree. From the east to western Indy, no jewel is like Rosalindy. Her worth being mounted on the windy, though all the world bears a Rosalindy. Let no picture's fairest line are but black to Rosaline. Let no face be kept in mind but the fair of Rosaline. Sweetest nut hath sourest rind, such a nut is Rosaline. He that sweetest rose will find must find love's prick and Rosaline. What think you, pretty cuz?
Oh, goodbye to my sleep for this night. You call that poetry? I can top that.
Oh, that's okay, Molly. Actually, Shakespeare was making fun of badly written love poems. He has this clown, my cousin, and me mock bad poets.
Oh, that's cool. But where'd he get all the palm trees? No palm trees in England.
Botanical gardens?
Oh, let me give it a shot. I suppose they won't find many like me, where softly sighs the light guitar, where poetry's in the air, the blue sea, and the moon shining so beautifully, coming back on the night boat from Tarifa, the lighthouse at Europa Point. The guitar that fella played was so expressive. Will I never get back there again? All new faces, 2 glancing eyes, a lattice. I sing that for him. They're my eyes if he's anything of a poet. 2 eyes as darkly bright as love's own star. Aren't those beautiful words as love's young star?
Love? Love is just a madness, and I tell you, it deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason why lovers are not so easily punished and cured is that this lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Why, lovers no sooner look but they love. No sooner love but they sigh. No sooner sigh but they ask one another the reason. And no sooner know the reason than they seek the remedy. Clubs cannot part them.
Oh, it'll be a change, the Lord knows, to have an intelligent person to talk to about yourself, not always listening to him.
Look, wait, look. I think you took that all wrong.
Give it up, Rosalind!
sweet God. Oh, sweet God. No, really, really. No.
I'm stretched out dead in my grave, and I suppose I'll have some peace.
I can cure you of this infatuation. I did it once before in a play. Once a man was to imagine me, his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me as Rosalind, at which time I pretended to be but a moonish boy that was slightly, well, okay, mostly effeminate. And first I like him, then I loathe him, then I entertain him, then I lie to him, then I weep for him, then I spit at him. I even pretended to faint when he got half eaten by a lion.
That'd make me faint, too. Well, what do you mean you pretended to faint?
Well, I did faint. But since everyone thought I was really a boy, it didn't seem very manly to them that I fainted. So I faked the faint to imitate a girl so that they would still think I was a boy.
Oh, thanks. That's a lot clearer now. But can I ask you one thing?
Prithee.
What were you doing, dressing up like a guy in the first place? I mean, before you pretended to be yourself, and before all the women in the play were in love with your male side.
Well, I had to. Since everyone thought I was a boy, it didn't seem very manly to them that I fainted, so I pretended to fake the faint to imitate a girl so that they would still think I was a boy.
Oh, thanks. That's a lot clearer now. But can I ask you one thing?
Prithee.
What were you doing pretending to be a guy in the first place? I mean, before you pretended to be yourself and before all the other women in the play were in love with your male side.
Well, I had to so I wouldn't get attacked in the forest.
Did it work?
A lot better in that play than in this one. But to make a long story short, I drove my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And this way I will take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, so there shall not be one spot of love on it.
I don't believe he really loved you so much if he was cured so easily. I can assure you I wouldn't be so easily removed from my feelings. You may as well try to stop the sun from rising tomorrow. The sun shines for you, lying among the rhododendrons, on Halp Head, in the gray tweed suit and his straw hat.
Wait, I got you now. That's your speech about Bloom, not about me. I don't have to dress up as a boy playing a girl playing a boy, curing you of loving me by revealing to you that I'm really a girl and we can't marry. What a relief.
I was only kidding. You take it all so seriously. I hope this doesn't hurt our relationship.
Not at all.
I really got you going there for a moment, swept away.
Now, don't you get carried away.
Oh, I was just gonna finish that bit of Joyce in prose.
Yeah, say it. It was beautiful. The prose, the Joycean prose.
I got him to propose to me. Yes. First, I gave him a bit of seed cake out of my mouth, and it was like leap year, 16 years ago. My God, after that long kiss, I nearly lost my breath. Yes. He said it was a flower of the mountain. Yes, we are all flowers, all a woman's body. Yes, that was the one true thing he said in his life. Yes, and the sun shines for you today. Yes. That was why I liked him. Because I saw he understood or felt what it is to be a woman. And I knew I could get round him. So I gave him all the pleasure I could, leading him on until he asked me to say yes.
No, Molly. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives.
Did you see that?
What?
Nothing?
Well, as some smarty once said, all the world's a stage and all its men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances.
Oh, but this was different. I felt in control. I wouldn't answer first, only looked out over the sea and the sky. I was thinking of so many things he didn't know of. I love flowers. I'd love to have the whole place swimming in roses. God, I haven't. There's nothing like nature. The wild mountains and the sea and the waves rushing and the beautiful country and the fields of oats and wheat and all the fine cattle going about. It'd do your heart good to see rivers, lakes, flowers, all sorts of shapes and colors and smells springing up even out of the ditches. Primroses and violets.
Well, I can see how he must have loved to sit there waiting for an answer while you were staring at the scenery. Why are lovers such pushovers? This poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time, there was not one man died in his own person in a love cause. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I disagree. Oh, that awful deep down torrent. Oh, and the sea crimson, sometimes like fire, and the glorious sunsets, and the fig trees and the Alameda Gardens, and all the queer little streets and pink and blue and yellow houses, and the rose gardens and jasmine and geranium, cactus, and Gibraltar. As a girl, where I was a flower of the mountain.
Sweet, say on.
If the odds are good, I'd take that risk you've been considering. And always the worst word in the world comes to yes, because they can't get on without us. Not wake him, have him at it again, slobbering after washing every bit of myself, back, belly, and sides. If we even had a bath itself, or my own room anyway. I wish he'd sleep in a bed by himself with his cold feet on. Give us some room even to let a fart, God. Or do the least thing better. Think I'll get a bit of fish tomorrow, or today. Is it Friday? Yes, I will, with some blancmange and blackcurrant jam, like long ago. Not those 2-pound pots of mixed plum and apple from the London and Newcastle Williams and Woods. Goes twice as far, only for the bones. I hate eel. Cod. I'll get a nice piece of cod. And they always want to see a stain on the bed to know you're a virgin for a mob. It's trouble. They're such fools, too. You could be a widow. Or divorced 40 times over. A daub of red ink would do. Or blackberry juice. No, that's too purpley.
You know, something always bothers me when reading A Streetcar Named Desire. Why does she have to go nuts at the end? I mean, She's just as beautiful and bitchy as Hemingway's Lady Brett Ashley. She's just as fickle and enticing. Yet, Blanche's passion is turned inwards by Williams. Hemingway, on the other hand, allows readers to dispose of Brett as we see fit. She gets her way. She's three-dimensional, despicable, but oddly human. Not some gothic monster which self-destructs. My only consolation is that perhaps Williams was writing a morality play, or a satire. Was Hemingway? Brett was damned good looking. She wore a slip-over jersey sweater and a pair of slacks. She brushed her hair back like a boy's. She started all that. She was built with curves like the hull of a racing yacht. And you missed none of it with that jersey sweater. She was looking into my eyes with that way she had of looking that made you wonder whether she saw out of her own eyes. They looked on and on, long after everyone else's eyes in the world would have stopped looking. She looked as if there were nothing on earth she would not look at like that. And really, she was afraid of so many things. Her eyes had different depths. Sometimes they seemed perfectly flat. And now, you could see all the way into them. She had a title, too. Lady Ashley. Jake Barnes, the sun also rises. Blanche was daintily dressed. She wore a pink dress, a necklace and earrings of pearl, white gloves, looking as if she were just about to arrive at a summer tea or cocktail party in the Garden District of New Orleans. She is about 5 years older than her sister Stella. Her delicate beauty must avoid strong light. There's something about her uncertain manner, as well as her light clothes, that suggests a moth. Tennessee Williams, a streetcar named Desire.
Hello, Chop. I have always depended on the kindness of strangers.
That's my line.
You try it then.
I have always, you know how hard it is to say those words. You have to pretend it's never been said before.
Wait. Just stick to the script. Now, take it from the top. Remember, Jessica Lange did it, Vivian Lee did it, Frances McDormand did it. They didn't complain.
I have always relied.
That line comes at the end of the play. That line has to be earned. You can't very well start out with that line or you'll ruin the whole segment.
But it's the best line. Really, it's not fair to make them all wait until the end of the play worrying about how I'm going to say it and if I'll be able to pull it off.
Wrong, Blanche. For one, it's arrogant to assume they all know the line or that you have to say it. And it's vain to think we all care.
Stop right there. Now, I asked you two to stick to the script. Now, why don't you just...
Relax. Relax. I'll handle this. Now, why don't you just take it from the top and we'll work down to the stranger part. You got to the quarter and things went exactly how you pictured them, right?
Not exactly how I pictured them. That's a mighty understatement, that terrible Polak husband of hers.
A Pole.
Oh, Polish, yes. Well, that man was what we needed in a way, someone to mix our blood with and teach us how to manage things, now that we've lost Belle Reve.
The place in the country.
Yes, our ancestors had started their slow, uneasy demise of our heritage. And did they leave us 1 cent to bury them with?
Well, Jessie left 100 for her coffin.
How'd you know that?
Well, I did see the play. But go on. The sister's pregnant. The husband's accusing you of hiding money from them. He wants you. No, really. You made that date the moment you first met him.
No. He acts like an animal, has animal habits. He eats like one, he moves like one, he talks like one. There's even something subhuman about him, not quite to the stage of humanity yet. Yes, like one of those pictures I've seen in an anthropological study, something kind of ape-like about him. Thousands and thousands of years have passed him right by, and there he is, Stanley Kowalski, bearing the raw meat home from the kill in the jungle. And there you are, waiting for him. He might strike you, or maybe he'll even grunt, kiss you. That is, if kisses have been discovered yet. Night falls, and the other apes gather there in front of the cave, all grunting like him, and swilling and gnawing and hooking. This party of apes, you call it his poker night. Somebody growls, some creature snatches at something, and the fight is on. God, we may be a long way from being made in God's image. But Stella, my sister, there has been some little progress since then. Such things as art and poetry and music. Such kinds of new light have come into the world since then. And in some kinds of people, some tender of feelings have been born. And that we have got to make grow and cling to and hold as our flag in this dark march towards whatever it is we're approaching. Don't hang back with the brutes. As our flag in this dark march towards whatever it is we're approaching. Don't hang back with the brutes.
Oh, I know just how you feel. I like them a little more refined myself. I liked Romero's cape work in the ring. Because he never made any contortions. Always straight, pure, and natural in line. The others twisted themselves like corkscrews, their elbows raised, leaning against the flank of the bull after its horns had passed, to give a fate look of danger. All that is fate turns bad and gives an unpleasant feeling. Romero's bullfighting gave real emotion because he always kept the absolute purity of line. And he always quietly and calmly let the horns passing close each time. That is beautiful when it is done close to the bull. The same movement is ridiculous if done a little way off. Romero had the old thing, holding that line in order to dominate the bull by making the beast believe he was unattainable, while Romero prepared him for the killing. Pedro Romero avoided every brusque movement, saved his bulls for the last, when he wanted them, not winded and discomposed, but smoothly worn down. I was quite in love with him.
Wow! Isn't this soliloquy thing a great invention? I wonder who discovered it.
Some Greek, I suppose. Nothing is really new under the sun. A stone is not a stone. An onion is not an onion. A rose is an onion. An onion is an onion is an onion. And a stone is a stein, is a rock, is a boulder, is a pebble. Oh, these writers, I wish I could get away from them.
Well, when you say writers, do you mean Hemingway, or do you mean that writer that was in love with you, Jake? Because if you mean Hemingway, there is no escape from him.
There might be. I am so used to dealing with these men who risk their lives to prove their worth. I'm doing something equally brave, keeping my ego intact. They call it bitchiness, I know. I'm living my own life. When I'm angry, I have to show it. And when I'm attracted to a man, I sleep with him.
I found out about that myself back in the hotel. Well, it's a matter of personal survival. No good being a Christian martyr. No good falling off the deep end or falling in love either.
In your case, the whole thing is set up so you can fight it out. So Stella is left with some integrity. But of course she isn't. Let's him batch her around, spineless.
Who, him?
No, her.
Oh, yes.
Sorry he did that to you.
Who, Stanley Kowalski?
Tennessee Williams.
Oh, yes.
But you're really no match for him. You think you are with the Southern Belle facade, but inside you know the place is a trap. The worst possible thing could happen, that you'll end up in the loony bin without a man to take care of you.
The loony bin? I thought I got to go off with strangers at the end. Oh, I see. I see what happened.
That's right. But it's not about your looks, after all. That's not what's going to save you. No wonder you couldn't fall in love with Mitch.
My looks. How do I look? No, don't look at me now. Not until after I've bathed and rested. And turn off that overhead light. Turn it off. I won't be looked at in this merciless glare. Oh, it's the fall of the landed gentry of the South. It's how the women were raised to be helpless. How the men kept all the power and control and betrayed them. How the South betrayed herself, became decadent and decayed. Or are those the same things? I don't want realism. I want magic. Yes, magic. I try to give that to people. You know, I misrepresent things to them. I don't tell the truth. I tell what ought to be the truth. I don't lie inside, though. I never lie inside my heart.
You really took that literary criticism class seriously, didn't you?
And you aren't a cynic about love? What about Jake? You loved him all along.
Jake? No. I kept coming back for the repartee.
Oh, repartee. I know. Sometimes there's God. So well, you just open your pretty mouth and talk, and I'll look around for the waiter. There must be a waiter here somewhere. Oh, I spy. I spy.
Let's have something to eat.
Oh, no, one's my limit.
Too late. I say, you're not slow in the uptake. Let's eat. Chicken.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Find any salt?
First the egg, and then the chicken. Even Stanley can understand something like that.
He's dead. I read it in the paper yesterday.
No, really?
Yes, Stanley's dead.
Oh, well, in that case, ladies, let's reverse the order. For Stanley, as a tribute to him, First the chicken, then the egg.
I wonder what day God created the chicken.
Oh, how should we know? Ours is not the question. We're not in this life for very long.
Nor on this stage for long, thank God.
Well, in that case, let's rejoice. Let's try to believe and let's give thanks.
Eat an egg.
Let's rejoice in our blessings. Let us utilize the fowl of the air and let's utilize the fruit of the vine. Will you utilize the little sister?
After you, old chap.
Utilize the little sister.
Utilize.
Let us not doubt, sister.
No doubt.
Let us not pry into the holy mysteries of the rooster with sinew fingers.
Amen.
And I shall say, and we shall say it. No, I'll say it. No, you say it with me. Now, what should I say? I know, I'll say it. You get down on your knees. Okay, let's say no one should be ashamed to kneel in the great out of doors. Remember, the woods were God's first temples. Oh, no, lady, don't drink that. It's Hemingway.
You liked Hemingway.
Oh, I loved Hemingway. We were like brothers.
You mean sister.
Mm.
Where did you know him?
We went to the University of Montana together.
Yes, and Tennessee Williams. They were in the library a lot.
Now, that's a lie.
And I went to Loyola with Bishop Hunthausen.
Now, that's a lie. I went to Loyola with Bishop Hunthausen.
You're cockeyed.
On club soda?
It's the lack of humidity. They ought to take this damn lack of humidity away.
I know who you are.
Who?
You're on the anti-dry campaign. I bet you got a big old bottle of moisturizer in your pocket right now.
Well, I went to Notre Dame with Bill Gates.
Well, I went to MIT with Prince, and he was the class president.
Well, the hand lotion must go on.
And the saloon must go on, too. I believe I'll take you with me.
You're cockeyed.
On club soda?
On club soda.
Well, maybe I am. Thinking maybe I ought to take a little nap. You want to take a nap?
All right.
Are you asleep?
No, I was thinking.
So what is all this business about Jake? Were you in love with him?
Sure.
For how long?
Off and on. For a hell of a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling.
It's all right. I don't give a damn anymore.
Is that right?
That's right. Only I'd hell of a lot rather not talk about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You aren't sore at me for asking, are you?
Why the hell should I be?
I think I will go to sleep now. The light's too bright. Hey, Brett, you a Catholic?
Technically,
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Well, I'm getting really drowsy. Have some lovely dreams and quit talking so I can go to sleep and dream.
Well, I don't dream. I'm a fictional character, remember? A gal who breaks all the hearts of all the men she comes into contact with. A woman possessed with sexual urges and with collecting men, only to spurn them, until of course she comes face to face with her nemesis.
Pedro Romero, the bullfighter.
I thought you were going to sleep. You're spoiling my soliloquy. He took me off on a honeymoon. I never could stand going anywhere alone.
Could you please come? Stop. Hotel Montana, Madrid. Stop. I'm rather in trouble. Breath.
That seemed to handle it.
Lady Ashley, stop. Hotel Montana, Madrid. Stop. Arriving Sud Express tomorrow. Stop. Love, Jake.
That seemed to handle it. That was it. Send a girl off with one man, introduce her to another to go off with him. Now come and bring her back and sign the wire with love. That was all right. The bullfighter was ashamed of me for a little while, you know? He wanted me to grow my hair out. Me, with long hair? Oh, it looks so like hell. He said it would make me more womanly. I'd look upright. He got over that. He wasn't ashamed of me for long. I didn't know whether I could make him go. And I didn't have a cent to go away and leave him. He tried to give me a lot of money, you know. Told him I had scads of it. He knew it was a lie. I couldn't take his money, you know. There were some funny things, though. He wanted to marry me, finally, so I couldn't go away from him, he said. He wanted to make sure that I could never go away from him, after I'd gotten more womanly, of course. But I'm 34 years old. I'm not going to be one of these bitches that ruins children. Well, bungo! You know, he'd only been with 2 women before. He never cared about anything but bullfighting. You know, it makes one feel rather good deciding not to be a bitch. It's sort of what we have instead of God. Oh, Jake. We could have had such a damned good time together.
Isn't that pretty to think so? Intimacies with strangers. I've had a few of those myself. After my childhood fiance, Alan, died, intimacies with strangers was about all I could fill my heart with. I think it was panic that drove me from one to the other, always looking for some kind of protection. Sometimes in the most unlikely of places. Like the last time, in the guise of a 17-year-old boy. Someone wrote to the superintendent, "This woman is morally incapable of doing her position." Oh, God. We turn on life because life turns on us, and then we're blamed for it. Like, seriously, we turn men into swine.
Oh, what rot! The bill always comes. That's one of the swell things you can always count on. The woman always pays and pays and pays. Gives something and gets something else. Pays for anything that's any good. Pays by learning, taking chances, or money.
Money? You know, I always thought it was strange that I should be called a destitute woman. Because, you know, I've got so many treasures locked inside my heart. I consider myself a very, very rich woman. And all this time I've been casting my pearls before swine. Exactly, swine. But deliberate cruelty is that one unforgivable thing. And it's the one thing of which I have never, never been guilty. And so I told him, I smell the sea air. I think the rest of my time I'm going to spend on the sea. And when I die, I'm going to die on the sea. And you know what I shall die of? I shall die of eating an unwashed grape. That's right. I'll die with my hand in the hand of the ship's doctor, a very young doctor, with a very thin, pencil-thin blonde mustache. big silver watch. Poor lady, they'll say, that quinine did her no good. That unwashed grape has transported her soul to heaven. And then I'll be buried at sea. And I'll be thrown overboard, wrapped in a white sack, tied at both ends, and then dropped into the sea at noon in the blaze of the hot summer sun, into the blue sea, as blue as my first lover's eyes.
Ah, darling. Let's not talk a lot of rot.
But you know what it's like. I mean, there was Jake, and there's Romero.
Romero, I've never been able to help it. I'm a goner.
Oh, you ought to stop it.
How can I stop it? I can't stop things. Feel that? Like that all through.
Oh, dear. Oh, no, you oughtn't to do it.
I've got to do something I really want to do. I've lost my self-respect.
Oh, only when it comes to love.
Can't stay tight all the time.
Well, no.
Please stay with me and see me through. I know it's not right, but it's right for me though. God knows I've never felt such a bitch.
Now, here you go talking like a bitch again. I thought you were going to give that up. And what for? A 19-year-old bullfighter? Snap out of it.
Well, and you, Blanche?
Me? Why, I've always depended upon the kindness of strangers. Lights down.
Light's gonna go out, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Got one little existential clap out there.
Right. Nice going.
And we may take a glass together. Whiskey makes it all so clear. It fires our dulled imaginations, and it feels so near, so near. I feel so near to the howling of the winds. I feel so near to the crashing of the waves. I feel so near to the flowers in the fields. I feel so near. The old man looks out to the islands. He says this place is endless thin. There's no real distance here to mention. We might all fall in, all fall in. No distance to the spirits of the living. No distance to the spirits of the dead. And as he turned, his eyes were shining. And he proudly said, I feel so near to the howling of the wind. Feel so near to the crashing of the waves.